5 seconds to go. Start. A cursory glance at the newspaper brings us face to face with dozens of political issues. The Supreme Court pronounces that there should be no reservations in private colleges. University students demonstrate against the government to demand the proper implementation of the Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Women's organizations complain bitterly about the unequal treatment of women and girls in our society. Trade union leaders condemn police brutality against workers. Animal rights activists demand better protection for endangered species of tigers. The Prime Minister apologizes to the Sikh community for moral indifference and neglect by the Congress government at the time of the 1984 massacre of Sikhs. The government gives up the sale of public sector units. The Rajya Sabha passes a bill to grant Hindu women an equal right in ancestral property. The Chief Minister of Gujarat insists that Gujarati identity and pride is wounded by opponents of the Sardar Sarovar project. What, in your opinion, makes all these issues political? Do all these issues have some one thing in common which defines them as political? Consider the examples that refer to reservations, Rega, the massacre of Sikhs, equal rights to women in ancestral property, and the sale of PSUs. All these refer to some institution of the state, the judiciary, the government, the legislature, the office of the Prime Minister. They also refer to the decision making power of these institutions. Does it follow that the term political refers to any public agency with the power or authority to take decisions? Notice too that all these decisions possesses the potential to have an impact on almost every member of the society in question. Even when a particular decision appears to target a specific group, it relates to and has an impact on other groups. Does the term political then refer to the common power to take decisions about the common life of a society? It would be a mistake to confine that term only to this common power of state institutions. Consider once again the example of women's organizations protesting against the exclusion or unequal treatment of women. On the understanding of political arrived thus far, this action of a group of women is not political. Why so? Because women's organizations are clearly not part of the state, but surely on an initiative and intuitive understanding of a political act, such a protest by a women's group is political. If so, this must compel us to change or broaden our understanding of the term political. This protest is political not merely because it is a collective act by a group against some continuing social practice or an earlier decision of the government, but also because the very object of this protest, namely the unequal treatment of women, is part of what we understand by the term political. And why is this so? Because to treat women unequally is to exercise power over them. Men make women do things which, left to themselves, they may not do. This exercise of power is also part of what we mean by political. A closer look at most of the examples points to another feature of the political. The pole and pole ethical is that domain or dimension of our collective life where we fight for our interests, make claims, including moral claims, on each other where important and urgent issues are contested, but demands, claims, protests, and complaints cannot but generate conflict. The political, it appears, is inherently conflict and conflictual. Finally, we might look at the political in a still different sense. Implicity and implicit in almost every example is a vision of a future world, one where all are equal or where even animals are treated with some respect or where force is replaced by deliberation and so on. The political then is also where new worlds are imagined. Clearly, the term political has no fixed or unique meaning. It has multiple, though related meanings. One objective of these introductory chapters is to enhance our understanding of the political and to draw the attention of the reader to its multiple meanings. Our second task is to understand what we mean by the term theory. Though not easy, it is important that this be done so that eventually we can put the terms political and theory together and have a better grasp over what is meant by political theory. Consider once again the examples in the first paragraph. Many of us have an opinion on most of these issues. Some of us are interested in seeking an explanation of the actions of the police, the Supreme Court, and the government. Are there any motives behind the actions of these agencies? Do their actions serve the interest of the entire community or the narrow interests of a class or perhaps a tiny political elite? For instance, some might argue that the issue of a Gujarati identity is used to further the interests of rich peasants. Others may claim that identity is a non issue, that the real motive underlying every public action in class interest. The academically minded amongst us may claim that there exist structural reasons underlying these actions. For example, the slow implementation of Rega might be due to systematic institutional biases hidden from the consciousness of power wielders. Is doing political theory the same then as explaining an act, practice, event, or process? This does not appear to be so. Although explaining is part of political theory, surely it is not the whole of it, and this for two different reasons. First, because an explanatory statement does not on its own constitute a theory. If I say that I fell down because I stumbled unknowingly upon a stone, I have offered an explanation of why I fell down, but have I offered a theory of what has happened? Or if I said that the United States has invaded Iraq in order to have easy access to oil, I would have offered some explanation of why the United States government acted the way it did. But is this the same as articulating a theory of it? No. Why